And we are back. I took off I think it was a couple of weeks I took off for the holidays, just trying to get re-energized and refocused and it worked, man. I'm back. And I'm looking forward to tonight. Starting I think it was right before the holidays, we had Christy Drakeford on, and we talked all about getting recentered for our resolutions coming up, and talking about health and nutrition. And she's all about that whole faster weight of fat loss. And then we're going to continue next week. And also, so tonight, man, let's keep the momentum going. We have Nick Mann, and he is the founder of TeacherFit. And Nick and I connected, it's probably over a year ago. And right off the bat, I love this guy. He's all about helping teachers in terms of wellness, not just health and nutrition, but also all the stuff that the challenges that we all have right now in terms of stress and anxiety and our mental health and our emotional health. And the work he has been doing with schools and educators has just been amazing. And I got to tell you, when he told me about this thing, when he first launched it, I thought, man, this thing's amazing. I had no idea how fast it was going to grow and how many teachers were going to get on board and how many schools. They have hundreds and hundreds of schools and thousands of teachers that are just committed to this thing, and to see the changes in their life. Like I said, yes, man, like the weight loss is awesome and feeling healthy is amazing. I love to see that. But right now, I think what fires me up the most is just the emotional and mental wellness component. And just, I mean, like I don't want to exaggerate this thing, but it really is a complete lifesaver for lots of teachers now more than ever. So Nick Mann and we are going to chat about it. We are going to talk about all things health and nutrition, and it's going to be great. I'm fired up. Let's bring him in. Now, here's the thing. This dude, I don't even know. He's in a house. I'm not sure he actually has a house, because this guy he has this amazing van. He travels around. He's like a wild man, like a nomad, and he's living the dream. So we're going to get down to his housing situation. He might have to come over here and use my house. I hope not. All right, Nick, man. So here, before we get into this thing, I follow you because I live my life vicariously through you and your dog. And dude, what did you do? You just kind of gave this whole thing up, and now you're living in a van. Is that true?
That is not 100% true. I built an adventure van, kind of to be able to travel and visit national parks and live off grid and those types of things. Because it's something I haven't been able to do, being in the military and then owning a brick and mortar gym for 7 years. So I wasn't able to travel much. So it's something I want to do. But I currently live in San Diego with my girlfriend, who is still active duty in the Marine Corps. So we have an apartment, but I like to get out and go for a week, 2 weeks. I just got back from 24 days, I think, of travel over the holidays. So I do have a home, but one day the goal is to be maybe completely nomadic for 6 months, 12 months, something like that. So the original goal was to build a van and visit schools and work out with teachers and students and talk health and nutrition. But with COVID and everything else, that plan has kind of gone to the side until we're back to it, which hopefully is soon. And then I'll be able to do that as well. So I'm pumped for that.
Just the name of it, an adventure van. That's so much better than my Toyota Tercel. I got to get an adventure van.
You really need one. On the West Coast, it's nuts. I had never really seen them living on the East Coast my whole life. And then I get out here to San Diego and they're everywhere. Of course, the weather allows it and everything else, but everyone's got one.
Yeah. All right, man. So let's get into it. So I'm just imagining you and your girlfriend, both from the Marine Corps, yelling orders back and forth at each other through the house. That's got to be exciting. And so you're in the Marine Corps and you get out, and I guess I'm just going to assume that you kind of found this whole passion for fitness in the Marine Corps with the discipline and all that's offered there. And then you kick off a regular gym. And you're doing that thing, and at some point you came to this, I don't know what it was, like an epiphany that you could do an amazing job serving educators. How did that idea come about?
Yeah, it originally started, and my passion is still in working with students. And ever since I got out of the Marine Corps, I had a passion with working with students. I created my own nonprofit, not knowing anything about the nonprofit world. and visited every school, I think, in the district of Prince William County to ask if I could volunteer after school, if we could do programs with their students coming to the gym, little things like that, and wasn't getting much momentum. And then finally, I walked into a school after reading an article about a new principal in the area, or a principal that was changing schools in the area, and he gave me an opportunity, Hamish Brewer. And I had an after school program at his middle school for a little over 2 years. And then through that, I started working with his staff and then another school staff. And I realized like there was a real need, not only for student mental, physical, and emotional wellness, but wellness for educators as well. They were really struggling and needed help. And the corporate wellness world that's amazing that we see in technology in these large corporations does not exist in education. So I decided I was going to create that solution. And through building an online platform, we were able to reach more schools. And it's gone from 1 to 2 to 50 to now we're in 260 plus schools in 3 countries and hoping to double or quadruple that this year. So it's been crazy.
It's, I'll tell you what's really crazy. The whole thing about it is just the video library itself and just the amount of content. If you think back from day one, when you kicked it off, making your first video, and here we go. And now, man, it's just an avalanche of valuable content that people can use to improve their life, man. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I went back and watched one of our first videos, which was embarrassing to watch because we started it even during the after school program or during that formation. I started doing stuff with Zoom before Zoom was cool, and the video quality was terrible. I tried to play music; it was terrible. We've gone from that to now we're putting out 17 pieces of professionally edited videos each week between mindfulness, 5 workouts, 2 yoga classes. Yeah, this is great. Everything's accessible for every one of our members gets access to all the previous workouts. So we continue to add to that library each week.
Yeah, man. Tell me something, man. Here, I want you to get me fired up. Like, tell me about, at this point, you've got to have a number of success stories where like schools have really bought in and people have bought in. And so does something like that come to mind?
Yeah, I think the thing I love to see, this would just be on the school side, before COVID, when everyone was in person, we run our challenges in January and in the spring and in the fall, and seeing teachers come together after school and working out together in the gym. And there would be schools with 10, 15, 20 teachers coming together to do a yoga class or do a workout or talk about nutrition. And I just think building that community inside of a school is a powerful thing. Having the principal work out with a 16-year teacher, a 20-year teacher, right next to a first-year teacher, right next to a custodian, and just having that companionship, camaraderie, community inside of the school was a powerful thing. And like, I couldn't get enough of seeing those photos. Because that's what we all love about going to a gym or being part of a team or having that group that we love, like Min and Ed or Help a Teacher, like all those things, and being able to facilitate that in schools while changing people's lives through health and wellness was just made all of this worth it. Like whether I never make any money, something happens and the program dies, who knows? Like that made it worth it for me working with those schools during last school year and then now this year. At the personal level, I think the most powerful thing has been seeing teachers do the program at home with a spouse or a child and seeing that connection with health and wellness. My passion, like I said, is working with students. So I love, like just a couple of days ago, Travis is a principal out of Colorado.
Montana.
Yeah, up there. I knew it was somewhere snowy. He posted a video or picture collage of him working out with his kids. And like, it's so amazing to see that and have that, impact on a whole family and hopefully not only a principal and his staff, but also his family at home.
Man, that's the thing about, especially the work. The yoga is important and nutrition and all that, but seeing the videos of those teachers coming together in the same space to do something challenging, to do a workout together. And if you think back, and I always tell people this, like if you think back to when you were a kid and when you were a teenager, for those people that competed in competitive sports, if they're competing like in competitive marching band or competitive gymnastics or club soccer or whatever it is, it's those challenging things that really brought a team together the most. And the same thing works in the school. Like you said, in the corporate office, it's been popular for years, but in schools, when teachers come together and they do something like that, because, you have to be vulnerable, and you're going to sweat, and you're going to strain, and you're going to try really hard in front of everybody. And that really brings a group together, not just, personally, but it transitions into that professional, personal, family, and it really becomes a school family, man. It's just awesome to see.
Yeah, that's something that, I taught leadership in the Marine Corps before I was transitioning out. And that's something that universities and corporate America and everyone would come to us and ask, hey, how do you facilitate this leadership and teamwork and camaraderie in your unit? And it all comes back to that shared hardship. Like, we know that every single person in the platoon and the company and the battalion, the squadron, whatever unit you're in, that they've gone through some sort of shared experience, physically, mentally, emotionally, and you're all now on an even playing field. And if you can recreate that on a daily basis through fitness, through yoga, through guided meditation together, having that shared experience at the most basic human level of breathing, of sweating, of getting your butt kicked by a workout or a yoga class. In mine and your example, like if you and I were to go to yoga, it'd be much harder than a workout probably. But having that shared experience is going to bring you and your employees, you and your staff members, you and your students that much closer to one another.
Let me tell you, dude, I'll be the first one to admit I can pick up some heavy things and put them down, but when it comes to yoga, I can't. It's too hard. It is so, people don't know. Like, you think people are just in there laying around listening to some soft music, man. It is hard.
It is. So is it going to a 30 to 60-minute yoga class is harder for me than doing an hour-long workout any day of the week. And that's all the more reason we should be doing it. I'm going to check in on you this week to make sure you do a class.
I'll do it. Hey, brother, let's talk about, man, this is a tricky subject, of resolutions. Let's talk about that real quick, because everybody it's kind of the same thing every year for lots of people, where, that's it, man. On the 1st of January, I'm doing this thing. I want to get disciplined. I'm going to make it happen. But then they forget, because January 1st, there's still a lot of food around. Well, let me start on January 2nd. And then this year was different because it was actually the weekend. So that's it, man. I'm going to start on a Monday morning, January 4th. That's when the thing's going to happen. And then for a lot of people, it's going to last until about January 17th. And then they're going to they're going to forget about their Planet Fitness membership or whatever they did. Right. And so help us with the psychology. Like, what do you think the key is to avoid all of that?
I think the first step is understanding yourself, building self-awareness. This is something we talk about in our wellness challenges. Each time we run them, is that first step is understanding who you are, what you need, what you're good at, what you're bad at, and, learning from your failures in the past. If I wanted to lose 50 pounds last year and I gained 10, I understand that maybe I didn't do something right. So, like, how can I learn from that and now take a step forward? The second piece is getting away from, that super motivated resolution, and instead think about who you want to become. Recorded the podcast based on James Clear and Atomic Habits today for TeacherFit. And the big thing is, you think, oh, I want to run my 5K. But in order to be successful in running that first 5K, you need to become a runner. And then what habits do you associate with that identity? So if I identify as a runner, then I need to run 3 to 4 days a week. That's a habit. And I'm going to put that on my calendar. And it's those little habits that you put in place that over time, done consistently, will allow you to become that person that can easily go out and run your 5K, which was the goal. But when you're just like, I'm going to run that 5K, well, guess what? It's raining that day. It's cold outside, there's snow, or it's hot in Texas, whatever it may be. And you're like, I'm not going to go outside. But if it's scheduled and you're dedicated to those habits and you identify as a runner who runs no matter what, 4 days a week, that's how you actually achieve those goals. Same thing goes with nutrition. If I want to lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 100 pounds, I don't need to say, I'm just going to lose weight. I need to say, I want to be a person who eats healthy consistently forever. And then how do I do that? With little habits. I get unhealthy food out of my house. I don't buy it. I track my caloric intake. I plan my meals out ahead of time. Those little habits done consistently are what make you a healthy person, and a healthy person is able to lose weight and achieve that goal that you want to achieve.
Man, I love it. In my mind, I've always said that, when I get in those situations, I realize I have my be have do reversed, where I think, well, if here's what I'm going to do. I want to do all these things so I can have that result. And when I do those things, I have that result, then I can be that person.
Right.
But it always, for me, I found, man, it doesn't work. I never get to the B. So that way I have to start with the B. Like, I have to be that person. I have to become who that person is so that I can have that thing. And that way I'm going to do those things. And I think you're right, man. I think that, the biggest challenge, it seems to me, for a lot of educators is they are so good at so many things, and they're also perfectionists. So
Right.
oftentimes when they come to the resolution and they set the 5K, or they set maybe a nutritional goal of you're going to change how they eat. Well, if they make one tiny mistake, they're so not used to making mistakes and failing, then the whole thing is ruined, and they just kind of fly off
Yep.
track, rather than fixing that one little thing and getting back on track.
Yeah, having compassion for yourself and understanding you're going to make mistakes. Step one, like, hey, we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to miss that day of running. We're going to eat. I love pizza. I like to have pizza on Fridays or Chick-fil-A on Fridays, including a large vanilla milkshake. And that's okay. Like, I know Saturday I'm going to get right back on it. Like, giving yourself that freedom, saying, hey, I'm going to follow that 80-20 principle to make it sustainable. It's so hard to go 100% of the time, all the time. Like, it's not healthy. It's not sustainable. It's never going to work. But saying, I'm going to be disciplined enough to either build those things in, like, hey, I'm going to take rest days. I'm going to take days off of my nutrition. I'm going to give myself ice cream, whatever it may be, is going to allow you to be consistent longer and set you up for success. And I think that's important. Having that compassion for yourself, like I said at the beginning, is key, and not beating yourself up like, oh, I didn't eat right. Diet's over. I'll see you in 2022. That's not the answer.
Right. My pal Keith Klein, he's a nutritionist. So I think he's retired now, but he would always tell me, he said, hey, man, if you're driving down a road and you got a flat tire, would you jump out and pop the other 3 tires? He said, no,
Right.
you need to fix the tire and get back on the road. That's what you need to do when you have that flat in your nutritional program. Just fix a flat and get back on the road and keep driving, man. It's not that big a deal. Now, for you and the work that you do with educators around the nation, and now globally in more countries, in the work that you do, if someone was going to start with a plan to get healthier in terms of emotionally, mentally, physically, nutritionally, in every way, where do they start? What would you like? It seems, I think that's the big challenge. It seems like such a massive undertaking. It seems almost too overwhelming, and when it's too overwhelming, it's just too hard to start.
Yeah, obviously everyone is different, but if you're starting from just ground zero, haven't done anything, my first thing I always encourage people to do is just to start one habit. And if that habit is, hey, I'm going to walk 10 minutes every morning at 6 a.m., that's the habit. And once you can do that habit for 10 days consistently, not missing, you can add in another habit. Okay, I'm going to drink 100 ounces of water, and I'm going to walk, and I'm going to drink 100 ounces of water. And you continue to build on those habits to where the early habits that you started, the walking, the hydration, those become who you are. And now I can say, hey, I'm going to start doing a high intensity workout 3 days a week. And high intensity is relative to who it is. But when we have those basic principles in place, I'm moving for 30 minutes. I'm drinking 100 ounces of water. I'm sleeping 7 to 8 hours. I'm eating, high quality nutrient dense foods. Then we can continue to build on those foundational health and wellness principles. But if we start with, I'm going to run a marathon in 3 months, but you don't sleep, you don't hydrate, you're not even active, like, we're setting ourselves up for failure. Just like anything, we have to build the foundation. So starting simple, building momentum, that's going to give you that personal encouragement to continue to go, like, I am crushing this. Like, let's continue to build on it. I mean, the mental aspect is a powerful tool.
You're not lying, man. I think, I always recommend, like, we do it just like with our kids in classroom. I know for me, like when kids, I have kids coming to class that just really, really struggle academically. And I can look back at their history. And when I would get them, in their ninth grade year, a lot of these kids haven't been academically successful since the second grade. So I know I need to do something dramatically different in their life if we're going to have any chance with this kid. And so what I would do, I set them up for little tiny successes. Because if you think
Yep.
about it, it's been forever since this kid has felt successful academically. So like I always say, man, a kid, why would a kid want to be successful if they can't remember what that even feels like? And I think
Yep.
that's the same thing here, man. Why would somebody want to be successful like this if they can't remember what it feels like? So it's these tiny little successful things, like you said. And for me, it's a weekly thing. So maybe one week I'm going to add my water in. I'm going to really focus on all my water. I'm going to eliminate all those other drinks I know I shouldn't be drinking. I know they don't make me feel good. And the next week, I'm going to focus on moving. And then next week, I'm going to focus on a really, really healthy breakfast. I'm going to plan that out. I want to make sure I
Yep.
have that prepped every day. And so I'm just I'm just stacking these little successes on top of each other each and every week. And man, things start to happen exponentially, and the snowball effect, and things get crazy after about 6 weeks of that.
Yeah, continuing to build on your success is so powerful. I think a great example you gave was with the nutrition piece is dialing in one meal at a time. If your sole focus is nutrition, start with breakfast. Like, how can I eat a healthy breakfast each day? Okay, I'm going to have some oatmeal. I'm going to have eggs, whatever works for you. I'm going to have a shake. And once you're able to consistently do that, you're able to manage your time, you're able to plan that meal, you're able to prep that meal, you're able to consume that meal and feel good. Once that becomes easy, then I say, okay, I'm going to start working on lunch. And then we work on lunch, we work on lunch, we work on lunch. Now breakfast and lunch are healthy. You should really start seeing some change. You should start feeling some change. Then we go to dinner. And that could take 3 months. It could take 6 months. But trying to go all in, we're planning multiple meals a day. You've got a family, you've got extracurricular activities, you've got Zooms with Hal, whatever it may be, you're going to set yourself up for failure again. So that building block approach, I think, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is, man. And so here's what I know. I was talking to some teachers that participate in TeacherFit, and I said, "How did you guys do that?" And they said, "Well, I forget where they saw it, but they saw another teacher doing it, and they read about it with that teacher online, and then they talked to their principal." And so the principal is the one who finally brought it to the school. And so for teachers that are interested, how would they get this started in their school or just for themselves?
Yeah, so we offer district-wide, school-wide, and individual partnerships, memberships. And so you can either bring it to the appropriate authority, your principal, your district wellness committee, your superintendent, whoever it may be. And obviously it's cheaper per person at that size and scale for the whole school or whole district. Or if, the local community of educators isn't on board or the leadership isn't on board, we have individual memberships. We have a special going on right now, only $99 for a full 12-month membership. I think it's like $8 a month. I don't know how, if you can do that math, but pretty cheap. But you can go to teacherfit.com. That's on the screen, and check out the individual page. There's also the school page on there for schools and districts, and you can try some sample workouts. Super simple. It's all automated. And then if you are a principal or some kind of school or district leader, you can reach out, nick@teacherfit.com, and set up a time to chat, and I can answer any questions that you may have.
And this is also a thing I know another school that the teachers brought it to the principal. The principal said, we can't do it this year, and then they kind of overrode. The principal went to the PTO, and the PTO.
Yep.
So that's awesome too. What a great gift. You know what I mean? And and those parents are always looking for something to bring to teachers. I mean, this is taking care of teachers in this way right now at this time is probably the best thing.
Yeah, we've had PTOs pay, we've had local businesses pay, we've had local religious organizations have stepped up to pay for the schools. I mean, it's been amazing to see communities like that come together and support their educators, especially now with everything going on. So it's been great.
Yep. Awesome, man. Listen, dude, I can't thank you enough. And I got to tell you again, man, when this thing started and you were telling me about this thing, I think, well, that's a pretty cool idea. I never would imagine how fast and just the exponential growth that would happen. It's been awesome to watch.
Yeah, man, I appreciate the support. I think when I was on the podcast originally, I think we had 10, maybe 20 schools. So it's been awesome. So I appreciate your support and everything you've done to help the movement.
Absolutely, man. Hey, man, have a great evening. I appreciate you.
Yep. Have a good one.
Take care.